Hey everyone. Recently, our Shure rep from McFadden Sales came into the store. We got a chance to sit down and talk about some of the classic products and some of the new products that Shure has available. Some of the legendary stuff like the SM7, the SM58, and the SM57, and a new product called the MV7. In order to not lose any of the important information that we went over, I've split this video up into a small series. Each one is going to focus on a different topic of the microphones, some traditional uses, what you would expect to hear and see, and some non-traditional uses, and just a whole lot of really good information that you can use for things like picking your next microphone, getting started with home recording, getting started with a YouTube channel, just like the one here, or getting started with something like podcasting. And hopefully this video gives you some good information on choosing the right microphone for your project. With all of that, here is my conversation with Ryan from McFadden Sales and Shure Microphones. All right, so we've talked about the practical applications for all of these microphones, who needs them, what they're going to do for you, how they differ from each other. But how you had said that there are no rules with these microphones, and I think that's really, really cool. So what are some of the non-traditional or you guys weren't necessarily thinking about this use when these microphones were coming out. What are some ways people can use these in different ways?
Yeah, so if we, I'll speak some just like personal experiences that I've done in my own music productions. But speaking of the SM7B and the MV7, as far as like the sound signature, it's full and smooth. Mm-hmm. So if you take a step back and think about what you're going to be recording or what the source is that you're going to be recording, that may give you some good insight as to what the end result may be. So personally, I'm a guitar player, I've got a home studio and all that stuff. And if I'm recording, for instance, like, a tambourine or like some percussion or something like that to go into a track, those instruments, even if you're like jangling keys, for some sort of, cool effect or something like that, something unique, that will smooth out those transients, those audio transients. So you're not getting a really sharp, shrill sort of, recording, essentially. It smooths those sounds out. So for, if you're recording a really bright Fender amplifier or a really bright, Vox amp or something like that, if you put the SM7B or the MV7 in front of it, and yes, you can use the MV7, to mic your cab. You
That's
can
awesome.
Absolutely do that. Like I said, no rules, and, the sound signature is there as far as the SM7, the SM7B tone is concerned. So you can use, you're going to smooth out the source, what you're recording. So the benefit of that is you're not going to have to go in and, use a plug-in EQ or something like that. So as far as other unconventional things, you can use the MV7 as a vocal microphone in the studio. You absolutely could. You can use it, similar to what we were talking about with the SM7B. Use it on a bass cabinet.
Right.
I mean, use it on drums.
Yeah.
Use it as a tom microphone. Check it out. Do some percussion stuff as a kick microphone. I mean, it's going to smooth out. You won't necessarily get a whole bunch of the clickiness on like off the beater or something like that, but you're getting the boom and you're getting the fundamental, and that's what's important for that.
Add some low end, blend it in with another microphone.
That's absolutely right.
That's really cool. There's a lot of different ways you can use these things, and like, it really just comes down to what's your goal?
Yeah.
What's your I don't want to say skill level. What's your knowledge from beforehand of how technical are you going to get with these things? Yeah. There is something for you, no matter what it is. You're just beginning, or you are, a master at engineering, and you have the coolest studio. We were talking about Skywalker Ranch earlier.
Oh yeah.
You have these big multi-million-dollar studios. You're going to see an SM7, and you're probably going to see some 58s and 57s there as well.
Yep.
So it really just comes down to making sure you pick the right one. And just knowing what you need.
That's right.
What's going to work for you.
Yep. And I mean, that's that's just a good life lesson,
right?
Take a step back, think about what you're doing before you go headlong into it. If you choose the right tool for the right job, or the right tool for the job that you're doing, the results are going to be stellar.
That's awesome.
And I mean, these microphones, Shure has a bazillion microphones, right? And they all have a specific use for them, at least what they're designed for. Obviously, you can, use mix and match and go nuts with it, but it's about finding that right tool, for what you're going to be doing.
Awesome.
Ultimately, that's, if there's one takeaway from that, it's that line.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use a condenser microphone in, this sort of a setting
Right.
because of all the noise, right? But then again, there's times where you do want to use a condenser microphone.
sure.
If I was in a gorgeous room and, recording acoustic guitar or, using them for overheads for drums, that's it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to do anything else. But
Right.
it's I think that's the main takeaway here.
finding the right
And
tool.
so SM7B, that's a high level production, a high quality production level microphone. Because of all those little, cool details that I mentioned earlier. The MV7 is the new kid on the block, and it's extremely versatile with that app, and the dual, cool little tip here. You can utilize the XLR and the USB output at the same time.
Oh, really?
So you can have like a redundant recording, right?
Okay.
You may need another computer, like an audio interface or something, but that's a super easy way to get, a safety recording without having to spend, a ton of money on, multi-channel DI boxes and that whole thing.
So
Split the signal. So there's some cool little things, some really clever, design choices that Shure made for this.
I think one other thing that would be worthwhile to point out too is so you're running a podcast, right? And majority of the time you're going to be in your studio.
Yeah.
You're going to have people coming to you, and you have that control set up. This is just one more, I think, benefit to the 57 and the 58 that I think could be useful for a lot of people. So yeah, you come over, we do our podcast, and we have those microphones sitting here. But now, in this field or in what we're doing here or in podcasting in general, you're not always at home. Right. So sometimes we're going to go out and we're going to interview people. For channels like this, we go to NAMM.
Yeah.
And we interview people, and there's a lot of you've been, I'm sure. And it's
I know
chaos.
exactly where you're going with this.
So I think it would be beneficial for the 58 and the 57 for that kind of thing too. You need to just plug straight into the camera to capture that audio. I'm doing an interview in that noisy room. I'm not going to take the SM7 with me with that bulky thing around it. So these are great uses for that too. So if you're going out into the field anywhere.
Exactly. And to go one step further, say you are, on the road, you're a stand-up comedian or a journalist or something, where you're on the road constantly. Maybe not in today's environment, circumstances,
we'll get
to
back
be
there
considered.
eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An MV7 and a laptop and some earphones or headphones. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And you're getting the quality sound that the SM7B is known for.
Yeah.
So it's again that versatility aspect. How you can use it. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's just a winning microphone right out of the gate. And I mentioned earlier. Sure has other USB microphones, and those are great for specific applications too.
Right.
So.
All right, so let's before we end for today, let's go ahead and just kind of give an idea of the price point on all these, so everybody knows if we have something in your budget. So why don't you?
SM58 and the SM57, they are $99. The MV7 $249.99, and the SM7B $399.
Okay.
$99.
So there's something in everybody's price point.
That's right.
If money's a little tight and you're trying to get your channel started on a budget,
That's
57,
right.
58 would work perfect for you.
Exactly.
If you want to get into something that's going to give you more control, the $250 to the $400 range, and even at the $400 range, for something that's so iconic that I've heard about so often, that is still a very good price point for a microphone like that.
What you're going
to get out of that thing, that's why I was saying earlier about the intimidation of it. I want to make sure everybody knows that we're not talking about a $2,000 microphone,
right? And
this is the industry standard,
right? And there are, a ton of people know this. Lots of people know this, but there are condenser microphones out there that eclipse $10,000. And if we're talking about vintage microphones, forget it.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Vintage Les Pauls and Strats,
they go up
command a high price because of what they are.
Right.
So again, it comes down to application. What your use is, what you're needing it for.
Yeah.
And it's again, Johnny mentioned this. It's every single one of these is a winner.
For sure.
They're all dynamic microphones. They all use a cardioid pickup pattern. So those are similar, but what you're getting from the microphone, that's going to be dependent on what you need.
Sure. But there is something for everybody,
Right.
and I really can't.
That's right.
Can't stress that enough. There really is something for everybody. You need to mic a guitar cabinet. You need to speak. You need live performance. You need studio performance. You need control. Whatever it is, chances are it's one of these four.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. They are classics for a reason, and
You hit it, man.
yeah, they're they're fantastic.
Yeah,
So.
great mics. So check them out. CA House
for
has
sure.
them.
Right.
And if you have any other questions too, Johnny's super knowledgeable. CA House are experts.
Thank you very much.
When it comes to audio and pro audio. So definitely, hit them up, give them a shout. And
so yeah, if you guys have any questions on any of these microphones, any of the 4, or any other Shure products as well, drop them in the comments down below.
Right.
We'd be happy to help. But I really think no matter what your application is, one of these is right for you. We just got to really figure out which one you need.
Exactly.
So
awesome.
All right, Ryan. Well, thank you so much for coming down today, man.
Thanks for having me, Johnny.
I learned a lot. I hope you guys all learned a lot. I think there's some great knowledge here, and there's some great products as well.
Yeah.
I really hope to see these mics going quickly. I really think you guys can benefit a lot from these, and I'm glad we got to do this today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, Ryan.